Our lead Kotaro, escaping from a massive fire that has destroyed his temple. He's with his dog, Tobimaru, and his sensei Shoan. Shoan tells Kotaro to leave for the Mangaku Temple in the Akaike province by himself and look for Master Zekai. After some hesitation, he gives in and escapes with Tobimaru. Later, we learn that Lord Akaike has allowed Ming Chinese warriors to build an altar on his land in exchange for gold. However, the opening titles are intercut with a gruesome battle between Akaike's men and the Ming warriors. The Ming come out on top, largely due to their expert swordsman Luo Lang. He takes on the entire army by himself and kills them all quite easily. However, he isn't impressed with his opposition and craves to find a worthy opponent. Meanwhile, Kotaro and Tobimaru try to make their way to the Mangaku Temple and find some food as they enter an abandoned shrine. They come across a mysterious stranger with no name, so he is referred to as Nanashi. Kotaro wants him to leave, but he acts stubborn, so he takes Tobimaru and goes away. On the other side of town, the Ming continue to build their fortress, but Lord Akaike and his trusted warriors aren't able to understand what the plan is. Kotaro doesn't want to share their food with Nanashi, but Tobimaru likes this new stranger and offers him his meal instead. It upsets Kotaro, but he decides to let it be for now. They are later attacked by a bunch of Ming warriors who have come to take away Kotaro. This is because he is the prophesied child to be used as a sacrifice to obtain an elixir of immortality. Nanashi decides to lend a helping hand and an intense battle follows. However, Tobimaru gets injured and poisoned when he intervenes to save Nanashi's life. Kotaro wants to help Tobimaru, but the next town is far off, so he has no other option but to ask Nanashi to take them to the nearest doctor. After which, he is to be their bodyguard till they reach the Mangaku Temple. He eventually agrees to do so in exchange of a valuable item estimated to be around 10 ryo. On their way, Nanashi asks Kotaro why he is being pursued, but he just tells him to hurry up instead. They end up finding a doctor to treat Tobimaru, but the chances are still looking slim as the poison has started to take over his body. Meanwhile, the Ming army led by Bai Luan discover their dead soldiers and focus their search even further to locate Kotaro. Back at the doctor's home, Nanashi heads to town to buy a new saddle for his horse. But Kotaro isn't too pleased with this. He manages to convince him that he'll return because he hasn't taken his payment yet. He picks up the saddle, but then runs into Luo Lang and his fellow warriors. Luo Lang feels like messing around, so he challenges Nanashi to a fight, and they battle for a bit. But Nanashi doesn't draw out his sword. It intrigues Luo Lang, but he doesn't get to finish what he started because he receives news that Bai Luan has summoned him. The Ming warriors leave without causing any further drama. Nanashi comes home late, and Kotaro suspects that he probably went to town to sell him out, considering there's a bounty on him. They have a minor argument, but then Tobimaru regains consciousness, and Kotaro is overjoyed to see this. Later, he apologizes for his rude behavior towards Nanashi, and they end up becoming friendly with each other. Meanwhile, Luo Lang goes to Bai Luan to discuss their plan of action. Here, we learn that the Ming Emperor wishes to obtain the elixir of immortality, and he needs to sacrifice Kotaro's blood in order to create it and become an eternal ruler. However, this ceremony can only be done once every 100 years, so they need to act fast. Kotaro and Nanashi bond some more over horse riding, and it leads to Kotaro trying out some lessons as well. Back at Lord Akaike's camp, a Ming prisoner named 2C is tortured for information, but he gives them a hard time and doesn't open his mouth. Lord Akaike then entrusts Shogun Itadori to get the information out of 2C. Luo Lang visits the dojo to recruit more warriors and is given a rather hostile welcome. It doesn't really affect him, and he instructs the warriors to go look for Kotaro. However, the chosen child Tobimaru and Nanashi have already left the doctor's house and carry on their way towards Mangaku Temple. They take a bath later on, and Kotaro notices the scars on Nanashi's body. He questions him about it, and Nanashi replies, saying that he was part of the war but has served multiple masters. so he is like a lost ronin. Then we see that his hair is actually red in color, and he uses nut extracts to keep it black. After that, Kotaro reveals that he used to live in Ming, and both his parents died at an early age, leaving him with no one but Tobimaru and Shoan. They get attacked by some casual thieves, but Nanashi takes care of them pretty easily, and also robs them of their cash. Bailuan tells Luo Lang that the emperor is growing impatient as the boy has still not been captured, and the time is running out. Luo Lang calmly suggests postponing the ceremony, but this angers Bailuan, and he dismisses him, saying that he will always remain a barbarian. At Lord Akaike's camp, Itadori finally gets Tusi to talk, and he tells them everything about the altar and how it is going to be used to kill Kotaro. This prompts the Akaike warriors to prepare against their Ming counterparts. Back to Kotaro and Nanashi. They continue on their journey, and Kotaro learns that Nanashi does not like sword fighting. He tries to understand why, but Nanashi does not give him a direct answer. He constantly suffers from nightmares stemming from past trauma. Kotaro witnesses one such episode and suggests holding on to something close to him as a means of dealing with it. He knows this because he does the same with Tobimaru. Our leads finally reach the Mangaku, and Kotaro is thrilled to see that Shoan also made it alive. Before getting reunited with his master, he reveals to Nanashi that his offer was worthless than what he had promised, but Nanashi is fine with that and leaves. However, Shoan is revealed to be a traitor, as he and Zekai had planned the whole thing to get Kotaro alone with them. Bailuan's assassin come in and kidnap Kotaro. They don't trust the monks, so they start attacking them as well. A battle breaks out and the commotion catches Nanashi's attention. He quickly drops by to help Kotaro, but his horse gets killed in the process. He confronts Shoan about what happened and learns about the ceremony that is slated to happen later that night. He insults Shoan by calling him a coward who abandoned a little child. But then the disgraced monk challenges Nanashi and his principles by saying that he would have done the same thing. However, Nanashi proves him wrong by chasing after Kotaro with Tobimaru to guide him. Shoan commits suicide as he is not able to live with the guilt and shame of what he has done, and the Akaike warriors learn about what happened through Zekai, who managed to survive the ordeal. The night of the ceremony approaches, and Luo Lang takes Kotaro to the altar so that he can prepare him for the sacrifice. He asks him about Nanashi, but he doesn't say anything. Luo Lang isn't impressed and tries to unsettle him by saying his ally killed Nanashi, even though that is not the case. Now, Itadori and the Akaike warriors visit the fortress of Shishin only to see that Lord Akaike has been taken by the Mings as their hostage. Itadori doesn't want to negotiate, so he kills Lord Akaike and leads his small army to invade the fortress. An intense battle breaks out between Itadori's men and the Mings, but it does not hamper the ceremony. By the time Nanashi reaches the spot, the Akaike army is heavily weakened. Itadori takes on Luo Lang by himself, while Tobimaru locates Kotaro at the altar. Nanashi is temporarily knocked out and experiences another flashback to his early days. We learn that the reason he does not like sword fighting is because he had once killed innocent women and children with his own sword. But then, he snaps out of it and realizes that the only way to save Kotaro is to wield his sword and kill the Ming warriors. Kotaro is about to be killed by one of the guards, but Tobimaru jumps in and distracts the guard long enough for Nanashi to direct his sword at him and kill him. Meanwhile, Itadori is putting up a decent fight against Luo Lang, but Bailuan shoots him with his gun because they need to get Kotaro back as soon as possible. A couple of Bailuan's assassins attack Nanashi and he overcomes them after an initial struggle. But he has to be rescued by Kotaro and Tobimaru before falling off a ledge. Bailuan loads up his gun to kill Nanashi once and for all, but Luo Lang stops him and kills him instead because he's finally found a worthy opponent. Even though his arms are injured, Nanashi accepts Luo Lang's challenge and they engage in a thrilling encounter. Nanashi manages to land an early blow on his opponent, but he struggles after that. After a long fight, Nanashi eventually lands the final blow and kills Luo Lang with a broken sword. The villain can't seem to believe what has happened and then slowly bleeds out. Kotaro takes the injured Nanashi on a new horse, and they ride to the next town to treat his injuries. The movie ends with them discussing possible career options such as becoming pirates. And there you go guys, that was Sword of the Stranger.